Captain Sharma, I want to ask you, you've had a ringside view of naval planning as Navy spokesperson for several years. Tell us the significance of this attack. We were looking at the photographs just before the show began. It looks like a neat missile hit, except that it seems to have come from a suicide drone. The US is saying it's an Iranian drone, but give us your observations on this attack. What's the significance? What's the message from this strike?
Thanks, Sandeep. Thanks for calling me. Let's get the perspective clear first. You are saying that India's 90% of the trade and 80% of our energy needs are flowing in and out of the Persian Gulf or the Gulf of Aden, Red Sea, and then through the Suez towards the Mediterranean, Europe, North America, South America, and the likes. Now, this incident has happened on a crude tanker, Chem Pluto, around 200 nautical miles southwest of Veravel, which is absolutely mid-sea, middle of Arabian Sea. Now, how did it happen? And as per the photographs, as you're mentioning, it's a very clean hit. So whether it was a missile or what kind of vector it is, whether it is a drone, armed drone, missile, that the explosive ordnance disposal teams, which the Indian Navy had deputed, and they are doing their job, and all other stakeholders are also there. So they will find out and investigate, and then we'll come to a decision. But yes, it is a very alarming thing which has happened. And Sandeep, as you know it, the amount of traffic, the sea lanes of communications which are carrying from Suez to the Southeast Asian nations, including India, is 12% of the global trade. And I'm not mentioning about the energy needs which are coming out from the Persian Gulf. It's a huge traffic which is likely to get disrupted should activities of these kind start repeating themselves. As you have already told, so many attacks have happened inside the Gulf of Aden or the Red Sea side, but now it is coming out, which means that nobody is safe anywhere. Operation Prosperity Guardian, which is being held under the flag of US, is with 20 countries inside that place, which is restricted waters, and the attacks are coming from Yemen side, which means it's a land-based attack which is coming out to sea. But this is a new angle. You see, getting a drone from nowhere, I mean, say, how long will a merchant ship be, keeping a watch? And right. On which side? It's a 360-degree thing, and a drone can be, if it is coming, it can be programmed, and it's low flying, it is very low speed. Yeah. So it's a very difficult proposition to start with. But yes, now since we and the US Navy work in so much of tandem that now probably they have given us the area of Indo-Pacific. That means the ships, when they exit the Gulf of Aden, that is where India has positioned 3 destroyers, state-of-the-art destroyers. They have a great capability of anti-air defense, and they can, take on the threat. But the threat itself is so humongous that we will need many more assets. Surveillance has to be intensified, and we will have to probably, have air assets up, ships down below, and it's a 24/7 business. Sandeep, you know it. It's not an easy thing.
It's not an easy thing
for
indeed.
How long?
Yeah, and Aditya, I want to bring you in on this. The Americans are saying that it was a suspected Iranian drone strike. What would Iran gain by striking at an Indian ship, especially one that's carrying oil for us?
Well, it's complicated to actually come to a conclusion right now that who really is behind this. As you rightly pointed out, the Americans have clearly gone out and said that the Iranians are after that. And the Iranians have come out that nothing could be far from true. And there is some kind of a political message that the American statement really suggests. That's what the Iranian spokesperson has said. We've also, just about an hour ago, had the Indian Defense Minister come out very strongly. And the Indian Defense Minister has said that we will actually trace and locate the perpetrators and the masterminds of this drone attack from the bottom of the sea, and we'll drag them up. So that it's a strong statement.
That's a strong statement.
And it's also a kind of, as you said, it's a third conflict area that's developing. It's also a new kind of terrorism that is emanating perhaps in the oceans and the seas, where we haven't seen that kind of, provocation for years together.
Right.
So I think it's too early to say as of
Yeah.
now. But yes, any side could be responsible for it. It could be Iranians, it could be some, rebels, or
Right.
it could be Pakistanis or some other through somebody
Taking
else.
advantage of this confusion.
Taking advantage of the situation.
And Captain Singhal, I want to bring you in on this. What is the mood in the shipping community right now? I mean, did you ever anticipate the fact that this Israel-Gaza conflict could kind of spill over into the maritime domain in the way that it has?
Thanks a lot for your concern on the merchant shipping, and thanks for bringing me in here. So the mood on the merchant shipping is certainly not good. The merchant shipping is already, as you rightly said, the Ukraine-Russian war, and prior to that, we have the Somalia, which went on for almost about 8-9 years. I mean,
Right.
it's not that there is a stop, but the mood on the shipping has certainly not. But and the merchant ships were sort of prepared, for these attacks which is coming on the ships, but not the aerial attacks. I mean,
Yeah.
boarding of ships and things like that. They had armed guards, but something like this is totally new to the shipping, and ships are certainly not prepared, and they don't have the mechanism to detect these drones, because these drones, in any case, even if they detect these drones,
Yeah.
there's nothing they can do about it, because they're like sitting ducks. So, and the mood in the shipping industry basically comprises of, the three key players: the shippers, the ship owners, and the seafarers.
Right.
So the shippers, as you know, about 5,000 container ships. Just to give you a sort of an idea on the container side, about 50% of the fleet, which comprises of, the big ones, are the MSC, the CMS, CGM, Evergreen, OOCL, the NYK, MOL,
Yeah.
Hapag-Lloyd. They comprise almost about 50%. They have either diverted their ships, or they are in the process of rerouting their vessels, via the Cape of Good Hope.
Right.
Because they don't see that their ships will be protected, or their cargo, and above all, the crew. So there's also a problem that they're going to be paying, and if the ships go through this area, they'll be paying almost about something like 2 to 3 times on the insurance. That's the additional war risk premium that they have to pay. So the owners and shippers are certainly, the charterers are under pressure, and just recently, I think a couple of days back, Malaysia has also banned ships, Israeli flagships calling their ports, and possibly ships carrying Israeli cargo as well. As far as the seafarers are concerned, yes, certainly, they are not prepared for this type of aerial attacks. And I think since it is very early, it's just been about 6-8 weeks.
Yeah.
But there's a very good chance that in the near future, seafarers, from Philippines or from India or from China may even decline to board ships transiting such areas. So keeping that in mind, owners and ship owners have to sort of, take precautions of such as diverting their vessels, or I do not know whether, a convoy mechanism, as they had, as the navies, as the combined task force and the combined maritime forces, in the what you call Gulf of Aden area during the Somalia piracy, when they got active out there, whether they will be able to do anything of that sort right now. So it's a bit too early at the moment, but
Right.
the mood of the shipping industry is certainly not so good.
Right, yeah. And Captain Sharma, protecting the sea lanes of communication is a very important task of the Indian Navy, as it is with all other navies across the world. Now, given the way this conflict has played out, starting from the Gulf of Aden and now it's literally at our doorstep, what do you think that the Navy should do in the next couple of weeks and months? You think it's going to, relook at its platforms, ask for new platforms perhaps? I'm fully aware of the fact that the Navy is commissioning one of its last destroyers today. There's just one more to go, and then you're looking at a 10-year gap where there'll be no new destroyers. So tell us what this challenge of drone attacks and ballistic missile attacks on shipping mean for the Indian Navy.
Sandeep, what you're saying is correct. The Maritime Capability Perspective Plan, as you have rightly brought out, the last of the ships is now under construction, and then will be the 7 Shivalik class. But then they will have to be spread out. Now, coming down to the SLOCs, we will have to intensify our surveillance. The ships will have to be there deployed on the SLOCs, or maybe the SLOCs will have to be tightened, that
Right.
you make a grouping. But it is too humongous a job, because as I was talking to somebody else yesterday, we took a grab. If you see a grab of the IFC IOR, 17,000 vessels
Right.
17,000 vessels in IOR.
Yeah.
Now tell me, how do you
How do you
distinguish
do
between
convoys?
what is carrying
Exactly.
what?
Yes. Yeah.
What is carrying what? And now you know it in AIS, and
Right.
the merchant ship experts are there with you.
Right.
We know the port of call from where it has started,
Yeah.
what cargo it is carrying. But what happens if it is carrying some warlike material which are
Yeah.
expendables, so that they will not have to be disembarked on the destination port,
Right.
and they are being used like this.
Right.
It is becoming a new kind of a thing.
Right.
As you're discussing, it's a new angle given to all this.
Right.
But let me tell you, what Indian Navy has done is, now when the ships are going to exit the Gulf of Aden,
Yeah.
or for that matter, when they are exiting the Persian Gulf, and if they are coming towards our side, the slocks are very defined.
Right.
So they will keep an eye on it, and probably see that no other shipping is coming closer, or maybe if they are destined for a particular port, and are doing some changes in the speed, or maybe in the courses, or a strict vigil and an eye will have to be kept, and probably maybe the sea guardians will be used now, the P8Is will be used, the patrolling vessels, because from 200 nautical miles from Indian coast, EZ, we will have reinforced kind of surveillance by the Coast Guard.
Yeah.
But Sandeep, you know it's a new challenge for us.
Right.
And as the Raksha Mantri has said, that we will do whatever it costs us,
Right.
and it will stress us, and maybe we will have to order a few more OPVs, which will have at least
Yes.
the AK-630 guns, and some kind of probably the EW suites, which can
Right,
disable the drones at least.
Drones and
But if the
jam
missile
them.
attacks are coming,
Yeah.
then you will have to have AD ships,
AD
which it is only the destroyers and upwards.
News 9 Plus. Download now.